Hi, welcome to this class on the Government Electronic Marketplace. My name is Venkatesh and I am working as Professor MIS at IRIMEE Jamal. So the agenda of this class is to try to answer the following questions. The first question is, what is GEM? Why do we need GEM? What are the advantages of GEM and what is required to set up a GEM buyer account or a GEM consignee account and to start procurements on GEM in your office. So to answer the first question, GEM is nothing but Government Electronic Marketplace. I am sure that in today's time, most of you would have used Amazon.in or a similar website like Snapdeal or Flipkart. These are electronic platforms in which any buyer can list his product and the seller can search for that product and place an order for it. The problem with Amazon or Flipkart is that it is meant for the retail user, that is the individual consumer who may want to purchase one smartphone or one book or one mobile phone. But government procurements generally involve procurement in large quantities. And then when we purchase for the government, we also need to follow certain rules. And the Government Electronic Marketplace is aimed at providing the convenience of an Amazon or a Flipkart or a Snapdeal on your computer on a platform that meets the essential requirements of the Government of India. So why do we need the Government Electronic Marketplace? I think all of you who have worked in the government for any length of time would appreciate that procurements in the government take a very long time. There is a standard SOP to be followed. You need to take approvals. After the approvals, the indent needs to be made. Many times the indent has to be vetted. It goes to the stores department. Then there is a calling of tender. Again, on the Indian Railway e-procurement site, even though things are digital, a lot of formalities have to be followed. Only after that the purchase order can be placed. All these steps do not necessarily make the purchase process smooth. They may help in increasing transparency or preventing corruption. But at the end of the day, each one of these steps actually results in increasing the time spent to purchase product. Many times I have come across a case in which I have finalized the purchase of an item which was actually conceived 1 or 2 tenures before me, and by this time we have reached a situation in which we perhaps don't need that product anymore. And I'm sure that all of you would have seen examples like this. So the advantage of GEM is that without going through all this paperwork, you are able to retain a large number of safeguards. The processing of bills for the seller happens on a much faster rate, and there is a much wider selection of products available. So this is some of the advantages of the GEM. Now, what is required for operating a GEM account? See, the first and the most basic requirement for GEM is an NIC mail ID. NIC stands for the National Informatics Center. You cannot operate a GEM account using a Gmail ID or a yahoo.com ID. It's extremely important to have a NIC mail ID, and you need to get one of those. The second most important thing is that it is compulsory to have an Aadhaar number. In a lot of digital platforms like IRIPS or e-office, you actually use a digital signature for authenticating yourself. But in case of GEM, there is no digital signature certificate. Your signature is an OTP received on your mobile number, and for this purpose you need to have an Aadhaar linked mobile number. So it is your Aadhaar number that uniquely defines you on GEM, and that's why it's compulsory for you to have an Aadhaar number, and that Aadhaar number should be linked to a mobile number. Only then you will be able to function smoothly on GEM. With this basic background, I will now move on to explaining what an NIC mail ID is and how you can get it. So here you can look at my screen and you can see that it is written email.gov.in. So this is basically an email server which is being run by the National Informatics Cell. And here you can see that these email IDs, they end in @gov.in. They may also end in @gembuyer.in, or they may end in @nic.in. Okay, so you need to get an NIC email ID, and when you type in your login ID and password and you sign in, this is how the interface looks like. So this is the process for getting a GEM ID, a GOV ID. See, any government employee can get a .gov ID. It is assigned at zero cost. You can either fill up a single user form or the bulk user form. This detail I have taken from @gov.in, the National Informatics Cell address. From a practical point of view, I would advise you that a number of you are now using Sparrow. So you already have a .gov ID for Sparrow. Many of you would be already enrolled in eOffice. That also requires a .gov ID. And typically, to help employees to get this .gov ID, Realtel representatives or representatives of the S&T department, please get in touch with them, and then you can get these IDs made.